Hey guys, I'm Pixel Dan, and this is a review of the DC Collectibles new Batman Adventures Two-Face figure. Alright, aside from the fact that I'm really excited about getting brand new action figures based on these old animated series, I am also a huge fan of Two-Face. Yeah, he has just always been my absolute favorite Bat villain, and anytime there's a new action figure of Two-Face, I do my best to add it to my collection. Two-Face Shelfie! So needless to say, getting a new Two-Face figure in the animated style is pretty exciting. Let's check him out. As you can see, he comes in that same blister card style packaging we've seen for all of the other animated figures from DC Collectibles thus far. And this particular Two-Face is based more on his appearance in the new Batman Adventures. So he comes on that blue card back there that kind of also features that silhouetted image of Batman Robin right there on the back of the box. Alright, so let's go ahead and get Two-Face out of the packaging and get a closer look at him. Now, once again, DC Collectibles has done a fantastic job of taking that iconic animated look and bringing it into action figure form. Two-Face here looks perfect. He looks like he jumped right out of the cartoon series, which is exactly what you want to see in this particular lineup of figures. We'll go ahead and start by taking a look at the face sculpt, because obviously that is a very important characteristic of Two-Face here. And I must say, it's done wonderfully. It's got that really great half and half sculpt going on there with a nice straight Harvey Dent face on one side and the busted up green nasty looking Two-Face on the other side. Very great looking in the sculpt, but also really well done in the paintwork as well. Just look at the busted up side there. He's got that really great snarl with his teeth showing, and I love all of the little details inside of his mouth because the gums are painted, all of the individual teeth are painted. It just looks really well done. He's also got lots of little kind of bumps and just crackles and all kinds of nastiness going on with that side of the face. And he's all even got that kind of like white tuft of hair sticking out on the top there. So even though these are an animated style and there's far less details than you would see on like a highly detailed figure, it still looks really nice on this particular guy. Below that, Harvey's wearing his half-white and half-black suit, iconic for the character there. And again, the paint job is nicely done on this. It seems pretty crisp and clean all the way through. The line looks nice and straight going down the suit for the most part. So it's not bleeding over, doesn't look bad, which is really, really nice. I will kind of point out, and it's hard to see it in the video, but the white side is definitely got a lot of white paint that's caked on there, specifically on the leg. I would assume that the plastic underneath is probably not white, and of course you have to use a lot of white paint to get that bright white color there. So around the joints on his hip, you can see that there's just a lot of paint caked on there. It doesn't look too bad, but when you're examining him up close, and especially since you kind of have to loosen up that paint when you do the articulation on there, it is a bit noticeable. It's really cool too because you look at the sculpting on the hands, and that's even really well done because the left hand, of course, has got that same green and textured look that the left side of his face does, while his right hand has got that more normal skin tone. And right out of the package, you'll also notice that he's got an open palmed hand with a little coin sculpted on the inside of it, which I thought was a nice surprise because I didn't realize that while looking at him in the box. And the little coin that's molded into his hand has a little bit of detail on it itself, which is very cool. Looks like it's not the scratched up side of the coin, so I guess whoever he flipped on is safe. But it is a really nice detail because the coin is obviously an iconic accessory for Two-Face, and it's really hard to get an action figure that comes with that because it would be such a small little piece. So having it molded into the hand works pretty well. At least you can display him with that coin if that's the way you want to. Now, he does come with some interchangeable hands and lots of accessories, but before we get to those, let's go ahead and run down his articulation. Alright, so the articulation on Two-Face here is very similar to what we've seen with some of the other animated figures from DC Collectibles thus far. The head's on a nice little ball joint in there, so you can see it turns left and right, even rocks up and down slightly. The arms are on ball joints there. Underneath the jacket sculpt, jacket is non-removable. This is just the torso sculpt here, but you can see that it's cut well, so you still get some good articulation at the arms. Arms can also move forwards and backwards nicely. You do have swivels at the elbow cut, as well as standard elbow bends, so you can move the arms forwards and backwards there. And then you do have swivels at the wrists. Now, he has no articulation in the torso here. This is to maintain that sculpted look of his suit, so that's okay, but you can still swivel him at the waist there. And then we do have those same kind of hinge joints at the hips there, so it's got those little pins showing. That's one thing I'm still not certain that I really like, just because aesthetically, I don't like that you can see the pins. But it does function the same as what we've seen on Batman and such. You can also move the legs forwards and backwards. You do have a standard bend at the knee, nice and tight articulation there. Got kind of like that ratchet joint, which is really nice. And then the feet just swivel left and right, and there's no pinholes in the bottom of the feet, so no peg holes. You can't really stand them on a figure stand. And you'll notice the feet are tiny on this guy. This, of course, is that animated style. A lot of the characters do have larger torsos, really small legs, so to capture that look, you do end up with a figure that is a lot smaller on the bottom. This does cause a little bit of top heaviness. He can stand on his own, actually, without a figure stand if you get him in the right stance, but you're not going to be able to pose him in a lot of different ways without it. So he does come with the figure stand, just like we've seen with the other figures in the line so far. Has that same kind of base there that looks like an animation cell, shows the turnarounds of Two-Face, and it has the little C-clamp on there, kind of like a doll stand. It's the same one that we saw with Catwoman, so it is adjustable. It's got the little clamps there. All you really got to do is clamp it around Two-Face waist like that, and we got a Two-Face standing, ready for display. One thing that is definitely great about the DC Collectibles animated figures is the fact that they come with so many accessories. Just the fact that a figure at this price point comes with so many different things is kind of amazing this day and age. So let's check out all of Two-Face's accessories here. Now, one thing that is really cool is that he comes with several scene-specific accessories from the episode Sins of the Father. So let's go ahead and start by taking a look at those. You can see he's got this little luggage case here, and it's got the ability to open up, and the reason for that is because he also comes with these little red and blue canisters that held the chemical compounds that he used to make a bomb to try to hold Gotham City hostage, just straight out of the cartoon series. So that is pretty cool to have the option to display your figure with these. So you can put him inside that suitcase if you want to, it clips shut. You can then have him carrying that around. It's pretty neat little pieces of accessories. Now, real quick, let's take a look at these little canisters. They don't really do anything. Obviously, they're just pieces of plastic. They're painted blue and red. He can't really hold them. So unless you're just going to display them on the shelf or put them in the case, that's really all you're going to get to do with them. But I wanted to point out that the paint job on my red canister is really funky. It's just not good. You can see there's a lot of really weird kind of paint marks all over the top of the canister, and it's just kind of a sloppy paint job all the way around there. It's just kind of a bummer. It was probably just an isolated incident with mine, but definitely worth mentioning, just in case. Just something that you want to look at there. But it's pretty cool. I like that. I think it's cool having some of those scene-specific things. You even got the little Two-Face pocket watch, which is really, really cool. The only problem with that is none of his hands really do a good job of holding on to it. Seems to work best in the open palm hands, and you can get him holding it, but he doesn't get a great grip on it, so it might fall out of his hands. And lastly, he does have the gas mask, which again is from the same scenes there with the chemical compound. And it's pretty cool because you can actually clip this right onto his face if you want to. It's a hard plastic piece, but it just kind of like snaps on his face just like that. So if you want to display Two-Face wearing that gas mask, you have the option to do so. Pretty cool stuff. Now, in addition to that, he does have a few weapons, of course, because Two-Face wouldn't be Two-Face without a gun to do some damage. So you do have a little handgun, which can be held in his hands. He does have two different trigger finger hands. He's got one for the normal side and one for the green side, which is very, very cool. And, of course, we also have a Tommy gun. I do really like this because the Tommy gun is such a Two-Face weapon. It's one of those weapons that you always picture Two-Face carrying around. You can't really get very good two-handed poses with this gun, unfortunately, just because of the build of the figure in the way his articulation functions, but it's still really nice to have. Looks cool in one hand, and I am just glad that it comes with him, because like I said, just feels like a two-face weapon. So I keep talking about those interchangeable hands. So let me show you how that works real quick. It's just like we've seen with all of the other animated series figures. If you just give a nice little tug to the hand there, just pulls right out. You can see the little peg's got little ridges on it, so that's very nice. And then we can take the extra hand there and just kind of press it in. You can kind of feel it clipping in. Articulation still functions nicely, and that is how you can swap the hands out. So he does come with 2 open hands, he's got 2 closed fists, and he's got 2 trigger finger hands. Now, since I am such a big Two-Face fan, I actually do have some of the old animated action figures. So, it's comparison time. Here's a look at the brand new DC Collectibles animated Two-Face standing alongside some of those past action figure counterparts so you can see the style differences between them. And just for fun, here he is standing alongside some of the other Two-Face action figures that have been made available over the past years. So there you go, my friends. There is a look at the brand new Batman Adventures animated Two-Face action figure from DC Collectibles. I really am enjoying this line, and I feel like Two-Face might be one of my favorite figures from this lineup so far. Now, I might be a little biased because he's my favorite Bat villain, but I feel like this is such a great action figure. Overall, I think the paint job is really good on this guy. He's got a really great animated look to him where the design was perfectly brought into action figure form, and just the massive amount of accessories he comes with is such a nice little bonus. Now, of course, the only real downfalls are the fact that he does have some problems standing on his own, and the fact that some of his accessories just really can't even be held in his hands. But at the end of the day, he's still a really nice figure, and I kind of feel like he's a bit of a step in the right direction already from Batman and Catwoman, because this figure feels far less brittle than those two did. And I know that DC Collectibles says that they are addressing the plastic issues that some folks have had with the breakage, so hopefully this is a good sign for things to come, and moving forward, we won't have to worry about that any longer. Now, you can pick up Two-Face, and you can also pre-order some of the other awesome DC Collectibles animated Batman figures that are on the way from your comic shops or online toy stores such as BigBadToyStore.com. And I'll put a direct link in this video's description if you want to go over there and check them out. Hey, if you guys haven't already, please be sure to check out my interview with DC Collectibles from Toy Fair this year, because there is a lot of really great information concerning the animated toy line and some of the stuff that they're going to be doing with it, which is very cool. And of course, if you enjoyed this video, please be sure to like it, hit that subscribe button, and until next time, my friends.